Hey guys, bjthebrave here, and today I'm bringing you my first in a new mini-series that I'm going to start on the channel called Game Analysis. I've been trying to think about how best to use the replay function, and some of you have been saying that you still like having live games on the guides, and at the same time I've been getting feedback that people always seem to really love more deep and detailed sort of game analysis. So I thought, well, why not just create a mini-series called Game Analysis, where whenever I have sort of pretty interesting games and showing off kind of, you know, high level matchups, meta matchups, things like that, or just really fun, crazy out of the blue games, I can kind of do a bit of a breakdown. So I've got a few already lined up for this series, but first I've been playing a lot of my Ghazghkull mill control. I'm really enjoying this deck. It's very powerful right now, and it's very much it's led to some really interesting games, and there's quite a lot of deep thought process going on with it. It's very much my kind of deck, and I've even had some really good mirror match wins, which I might even bring a game analysis guide out on. But for today I'm going to actually start off with a game between this deck and the Uriel aggro. Now, if you've not seen the deck guide that I released for this, then go and check that out. I'll pop a link in the video just above here. Alternatively, if you're already subscribed to the channel, you'll be able to find that. But definitely go back and watch that deck guide. I only released it recently, and you know, it's, you know, as I say, it's one of my favourite. That's one of my favourite videos I've ever made, actually. It's a really good deck guide, and it's got 3 very good games in there. So definitely go and watch that. But let's jump on to today's match. So in this game we are playing against Uriel aggro, and so let's dive on in, and I'm going to walk you through my thought process. So obviously Uriel is aggro, right? So we need answers, so we're going to keep the Ork Nob. Boss Nob is a great card, but we don't want to actually often just play it blind on 5. We're really looking for the armor. And we're looking for things like Warbiker, maybe even Gretchin Mob. They're the things that we're really looking for in the early game. So we keep the Nob because having a turn 4 flanker is very powerful. And Skorcha Assault's very good. This is a good drop. The Prophet allows us to dig for armor, or something else if we need, like Gretchin Mob or card draw. So what we do is we just basically play out our boss, and we don't attack. We are the control player, we're not the beatdown. So we play this out. He uses his power, which can't remove the Grot, so what does he do with Uriel? Does he attack face, or does he hit the Grot? He decides to hit the Grot. Okay, so we get a bit fortunate in drawing into the Gretchin Mob. We're going to play it here because, again, he's not turn 4 yet, so it's not like he can just Storm Raven it off the board, even though we'd be fairly happy with that play, to be honest, in turn 4. But this just, again, stems the damage coming back at us. So that's not hit Ghazghkull. This guy's not going to hit Ghazghkull, and also of being damaged, we can now easily remove that. So we're really making use of our resources. You know, this is a control deck. It's about maximizing your resources, so using that Gretchin Mob that we just played. And here we've got this turn 4 where you can play out another Grot, and you can kind of draw. We want to look for the armor, so we get the Grizzled Skarboy, which is the armor. And we can kind of put a Grot down, and that was a really nice turn 4 play with this deck, because it means that the Prophet can get you the Grizzled to then play next turn on turn 5, which is why I often do keep the Prophet, particularly if I don't have Grizzled in the opening hand. He has to clear that. I mean, if he hadn't, we could have used that obviously to damage the Firstborn and then Grizzled. So here we are absolutely going to damage the Firstborn first, so we get an extra +2 health. Play the Grizzled, and we should go up to 37. There we go, so we've got 37 plus 1 armor. And we're not worried about a tempo loss generally. We are a little bit against Uriel because it's like the best aggro deck in the game. So, but, you know, getting that armor on early is absolutely pivotal, particularly in this matchup, but to be honest, in most matchups. Now this is quite a nice Skorcha Assault. We get a little bit unlucky there on the 2 on the Stern Guard, so unfortunately we do have to trade. There are other ways we could have played that, by using Nob, for example, or even just using a Biker, but that was very tempting on law of averages, we normally come off pretty well there. Okay, so now he goes wide. So obviously the priority is to remove the Rhino. We don't want him creating any more of a board here. We've got 7 mana, so we decide to kind of like use the Warbiker and the hero power to take off the I call it the Rhino, but it's called the Impulsor in this game. And actually we do go ahead and use the Ork Nob. We didn't have to do that here, I don't think, but we wanted to. We don't want to fall too far behind on tempo. Especially given that we obviously did that when we played the armor, so we go ahead and play it knowing it's going to get removed, but and the Stern Guard goes exactly where he wants it. So he wins the 50-50 there, and obviously gets his 2 extra damage, which is only 1 again because of the armor. So this is the point in the game where we can clear the board here and draw at the same time, and you know he's running lower on resources, so you know clearing the board we can actually drop a Grot as well, so we can take Uriel kind of off us, take the pressure off us, off our war boss obviously, and now we're kind of like going into the point of the game where we're sort of even on life and we're even on resources, so we're kind of turning the corner. We'll kind of see what he plays here. We've seen if he has, doesn't really have a lot. So his hand quality is poor, and this is what happens with an aggro deck, right? When we get to later turns, maybe he'd drawn the Librarian or something like that, but his hand quality is not great. Whereas we're now starting to be able to play more of our mid-range units, so we'll be able to start to outvalue him. So because we've got double spanner, we don't often play for a vehicle buff in this deck. The spanners are really there for the Burna Boys, but we see an opportunity here to kind of we were hoping really for the health buff there on the Squigbuggy. We got a melee buff. It's like yeah, but at the same time in this matchup, it's not too important to have that combo. It's okay to play spanner more as a tempo, right? Because we just need to make sure that we are matching his tempo where we can, but again we're really starting to sort of turn the corner here. We're the ones with the with the board now, and we've got more resources, probably better quality resources. So he's having to dig. Fine, he's got the Hero's Respite, so he's digging for more. He's only got 3 left to spend because of that. So you see we're clearly ahead now in terms of the tempo. Now, I don't want to just chuck the Ardshell down here. We haven't seen an Inspired Retribution, so you should be thinking about what your opponent can do, and obviously that's the hard removal that they've got. So what we do is we slow play a little bit here, and I'll often do this. I've put out a target that can get us value immediately, swing the health and balance even more in our favour, and there we go. He drops the Inspired Retribution on that. We're kind of happy with that. Right, he's now only got 5 left to develop something on the board. Okay, not bad. He's found an Honor Guard. But now we're much more confident about being able to play Ardshell. I think this turn's looking more like a Stormboy turn. Obviously, we got the clear, and with it being a melee attack, you can trigger the Boss Nob again. Really love this card. Look at this, +1 health. We're going to attack there with Ghazghkull, another +2 health already from there. And this is these mid-sized units are a real problem for like the aggro sized minions that Uriel produces. This is what helps you kind of turn that corner. This is what mid-rangey decks and mid-rangey minions, this is the advantage they have over the aggro ones. And he's got no removal. He's used his hard removal there, so we've got another lovely trade into the 6-drop. Okay, so he's worried about kind of the game ending here, and we're just like, actually look, we're control. We'll keep drawing. We've still got 13 cards. We're just going to remove this, buddy, and we're just going to set up the board to win next turn. So we're glad to sort of see that come out. To be honest, we're not too worried about it. We'll obviously take that trade. Stormboys, I don't know if he did a 3-for-1 there or something stupid. And now we can actually feel confident about setting up the Ardshell for the finish, right? So we're going to play him along with the Grot, and we know that he's got another Inspired Retribution. He may well have it, but actually we've seen one, so it's a much better strategy on our part to kind of just go ahead. and he hasn't got it. So now he's desperate. He's using his hard remove. He's using his finishers to try and remove this guy. And at this point, we kind of know, okay, we've sort of got the game in the bag now, because how's he going to burst us down, right? The armor has done its job in this match. You know, armor's very good here because Uriel does lots of sort of 2s and 3s and 4 damage, and they're just always getting reduced and becoming like 1s and 2s. Okay, so he has to use Uriel's health there just to get the clear. And obviously we're looking at that board state now. We've got the lethal with the double fire, and Ghazghkull swinging, and that should be enough to kind of close out the game. There we have it. Okay, so guys, that's against the Uriel aggro. I'm going to do a few more with this deck as well, so look out for those. If you enjoyed this, let me know in the comments what you think to this type of content. Is this something you want to see more of? Please like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. If you have already, then thank you very much for your support. Much appreciated. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one.